Alrighty, is this thing on? Okay, I think it is. Alright, hey, what's up, guys? It's Not a Newbie, back here with a review for Apple Music 1. It's been years since this station, which debuted under the name Beats1, has been on, debuted. It's been on the air for years, so I figured it would be nice to kind of go and do sort of like 2022 review of the station. Now I wasn't around listening to the station when it first aired, but I figured it'd still be good to do a review just from a general internet radio fan, kind of go over what the experience is like of listening to Apple Music 1. I have some notes here that I'm going to read off and then kind of give my conclusive summary review of my final thoughts about the station. But one thing that I noticed was that Apple Music 1 hosts seem to talk about the music a lot, which is great, considering the fact that it is Apple Music 1's claim to fame of having DJs live 24/7 who are actually talking about the music. It's something that you don't usually get with that much consistency, at least when it comes to terrestrial radio. As I'm sure some of you are fellow Christian music radio sufferers, or former Christian music radio sufferers, I do not blame you. You have probably noticed that a lot of terrestrial DJs just don't talk about the music that is on the air, but these hosts do, and that's really cool. So, example, from the chart show with Dev, I think was sitting in for the typical host. Dev got a voice note from Steven Sanchez about his song "Until I Found You," kind of going on talking about what the song was about. Now, it was a very boring and simple explanation. It's a song about love, but it was still nice to hear it from the artist himself, rather than through the DJ being like, "Oh, hey, here's this song about love. I'm gonna hit play now." It was a more interactive, "Hey, Steven, what's this song about?" That was a really nice, subtle touch that makes the experience a little bit more enjoyable. Now, when it came to around the mid morning, I noticed that the music was sort of chiller and softer, with the exception of First Class by Jack Harlow. And it definitely didn't have the energy that you would find in a top 40 station. So if you wanted to turn on a pop station, you would get a more energetic vibe, a different vibe than what you would get from Apple Music. Now, this is supposed to be a worldwide station. I find it interesting that they played softer music in the morning, considering that they have an emphasis on, being international. Because I would think that if it was actually supposed to be a US-centric station, they would play kind of more relaxing music in the morning and in the evening, but sort of in the afternoon, maybe a little bit towards the early evening, they would play hyper, more energetic stuff. But that's really not what I got. Throughout the whole day, I did notice that they were playing kind of softer, more alternative music than you would find on top 40 stations. That's just something that I noticed. They also explained why some songs that they played got popular, such as stating that Running Up That Hill is blowing up primarily because it was featured in the latest, and I believe final season of Stranger Things. Now, one thing that is cool is that various shows seem to feel very distinct and play specific genres and styles. And that's a welcome change to see a radio station have distinct shows that have distinct, specific and unique styles. I think one radio station network that definitely does not do this, sorry to go back to Christian music radio, but they're an easy punching bag. K-Love, they have all of these different shows. And while some of them, the topics that they talk about might be a little bit, might be themed a little bit, but the music that they all play is exactly the same. So it doesn't really give you tons of incentive to listen to one station or to listen one show versus listen to another one. Now, one thing is, the interviews were fun, although I did feel like they got a little bit gimmicky. So there was one interview that sort of devolved into a create your own adventure type story halfway through, where in the first half he was talking about sort of his musical roots, the type of music that he likes to listen to versus the type of music that he likes to listen to with others. But then it sort of devolved into a create your own adventure thing that felt a little bit weird to me. But it was still nice and a good change of pace from the typical radio music show host fare. Whatever. Zane Lowe's show, I think, was probably one of my favorite shows that I heard It was surprisingly entertaining and served as sort of like a Joe Rogan Experience style interview with the guest artist that lets you get to know him or her better. The downside is if you're tuning in for music, you'll be pretty disappointed for the hour that you're tuned in, because it is the majority of it, if not the entirety of it, is all an interview. I didn't listen to it straight through because I was working and had my earbuds in and off, but from what I could tell, it seemed to be almost entirely an interview show. The interview was great, but if you're tuning in for music, that hour might disappoint you. For a worldwide international station, it does refreshingly stray away from being too heavily US-centric, playing a sprinkling of Latin, drill, and house music. However, it does still feel a bit top-heavy with an emphasis on American and UK culture, and a little bit of like African culture in there too, making it feel as if it's more of an American spin-off of BBC Radio 1 rather than a truly egalitarian worldwide radio channel. There were some slight notable exceptions. There was a little bit of Latin music, and a little bit. There was like one K-pop song that I heard. Now, I'm not a K-pop fan, but considering how popular K-pop music is, I'm surprised that they didn't play more K-pop while I was listening. Dev noted while hosting the chart show that she was going to play Late Night Talking by Harry Styles because it was viral on Apple Music, which is really nice. Again, another example of them focusing on why the music that they're playing got popular, or how it got popular in the first place. So my conclusion of this station is fun if you think that two things. There are two incentives, I think, to listen to Apple Music One. First is if you think that pop radio plays songs that are a little bit too energetic, because they play softer, more alternative music on Apple Music One. So if you think that there's just like too much energy with the music, and it's just like you want to change a pace, Apple Music One is the way to go. The second one is if you want better DJs. Apple Music One, I think, has probably had like the best radio DJs I've ever heard. Now, I'm not a heavy BBC Radio 1 listener or even BBC Radio listener, but outside of that, I've listened to terrestrial fare. I've listened to Christian music radio, rap radio a little bit, quite a bit of top 40 radio, and these DJs blew all the DJs that I've heard out of the water, except some of the BBC Radio 1 DJs, which, again, I can't judge as fairly because I haven't listened to them that much. But in general, if you want really good DJs, really good radio hosts to be as entertaining as the music you're listening to, then Apple Music One is definitely the way to go. Now, if you are, like me, a fan of the energetic music that you hear a lot on terrestrial radio, this station might let you down. Now, you might want to check out Apple Music Hits, which I haven't checked out yet, but I'm thinking about reviewing for this channel. That might be something that you'd want to check out. But they just play a lot of softer, gentler music. Now, another benefit of Apple Music One, but I can't entirely judge this because I only listened to it for a day, is that they tend to not play the same songs over and over and over again. I did notice there were about like 3 songs that they would play constantly. Well, not constantly, but they did play more than the others. One of them was Running Up That Hill. I think there were some others. So there are going to be some songs where it's like, man, I already heard this quite a few times today. But by and large, most of the songs I only heard once throughout the course of the day of tuning in and tuning out. I think that it is a little bit disappointing that I did hear Running Up That Hill as many times as I did, because, I was almost starting to get annoyed by it by the time the day had come to a close. I kind of heard it a little bit early into the morning as I was getting ready to go to work. And then I was doing my nightly run, and I was hearing it even like as I was wrapping up my day. So it's like, maybe it's a double-edged sword. Maybe it's if you like that song a lot, as a lot of people seem to, the song is popular, then it won't bother you as much. But for me, I'm not a fan of pop stations or radio stations playing the same song kind of over and over and over again. Now, thankfully, there were only like 1, 2, 3 songs where that happened, but I wouldn't be shocked if they have the similar tendency to have like their top song played more often than others. It just might be a different song than what you would hear on terrestrial radio, because I don't know I haven't listened to terrestrial radio in a few weeks, so I don't really know if Running Up That Hill is also something that's being constantly replayed, so that's also something to consider. But from a 24-hour sort of review of Apple Music One, I would say that it's good, it's fair. I would give it let's see, what would I give it? I think I would give it maybe an 8 out of 10. You know, if I listen to it for a few more days, I would consider bumping it up to 8.5 if I can be sure that they're not going to replay songs over and over again. But I would guess that they do, so I am giving it an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed the hosts. I wish that I had more time to dedicate to listening to it more steadily and kind of even pick out which shows that I had time to listen to, but I just didn't because I was working. But yeah, it was really, really good. So yeah, I think that's all the thoughts that I had. So thanks for checking this out. If you have any other stations that you would like me to review, leave those in the comments and I will consider checking those out. I do have some other radio stations that I'm thinking about reviewing, but if you guys have some more interesting contributions, then I will definitely check those out first. So thanks, everyone, and I will see you all in my next video, or on my stream, or on my Clips channel, or whatever. I make all kinds of content. So anyways, thanks guys for watching.